doing out there? This is not a school assembly anymore, so get up on your feet, make your way to the front of the stage.
So both my parents, when I was young, both my parents were involved in music. My mom played piano, and my dad's always been in bands from the time he was like 14. So from when I was really little, we were always going to his concerts and stuff like that. I think just always being around music forever just kind of made me feel like it was like part of my culture. It was something I wanted to be a part of. And as I got older, my parents started a praise and worship band at our church, and they started being like touring musicians doing it to a really small extent, and I just loved going out on the road with them. I loved the atmosphere. I love waking up and having terrible fast food, and then just playing shows. It's just what I always loved. Is a singer and she plays piano, and my dad is just straight up drummer. So I always kind of admired his drumming ability and kind of wanted to get into that first, but he was always really stern about how being a drummer is a lot harder work to be if you're ever going to do it by yourself, because you can't just show up to a show and play drums. And he also, from watching him set up drums all the time, it never looked like a fun thing, so I decided I'd get involved with guitar. And so guitar kind of became my passion around age 13.
So I actually started playing music kind of by chance. I don't remember if I ever really showed any interest in it, but I remember I was 10 years old and my dad kind of took me to the local music store and showed me this acoustic guitar, and he asked me if I wanted it for Christmas, and I was just kind of like, sure, yeah. So that guitar and then music lessons were kind of part of my Christmas gift that year, and I've been playing ever since.
So I met Craig. My parents had recently left the church that they were being the worship pastors at, and so we started going to a new church called Seymour Nazarene, and I started getting involved with the youth group there, and they had a youth band, and so as someone who loved music, I wanted to be involved in that somehow, but they already had 2 guitar players, and one of the guitar players was an electric guitar player, and so I was really just kind of drawn to that immediately. And so one day I just got felt pretty gutsy, so I went up to him and I said, "Hey dude, would you mind if I played your guitar?" He said no. But that's kind of how we got started. The next week I had talked to the guy who was in charge of the worship band, and he actually let me join the worship band, and then so me and Craig had to start working on songs together after that. So he eventually just had to start liking me. He didn't really have a choice.
So what did you think about the band Quarantined?
Quarantined legends.
Blessed be your name. Blessed be the name.
first to get started?
So we kind of had this hiatus with quarantine after 2010, and we were kind of still trying to figure out what we wanted to do. But I think you and I, out of all the quarantine, were like still the ones who felt like music was something worth pursuing. But we knew that towards like the end of quarantine, it seemed like we were kind of fighting. We were riding the line between were we a Christian band, were we like this mainstream emo band? We didn't really know what we were doing, and so I just remember we tried like a couple acoustic things by ourselves. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I wouldn't say they went well, but
No, we thought we were gonna do this like 2-man gig for a little bit, and we played a little hometown festival and different things, and it's funny looking back now that we thought it was like a serious thing, I think, because we had a lot to improve on.
no.
But now
Now we could get that going. I mean, honestly, maybe we should cut this documentary short.
maybe
short.
maybe this is a Craig and Logan documentary after all.
This is my hope that I will live for eternity, eternity. And these shafts will slowly pass and rot away. I'll turn to wind to guide me home. Let justice and praise become my embrace, to love you from the inside out, never lasting. With my world shine, we all have space, never ending. Your glory goes beyond all pain, and the cry of my heart is to bring you praise from the inside out of my soul, cries out.
So we did the whole two thing for a while, and eventually we were just like, well, we'd rather be in a band. I think it was just like that's what came natural. We've both done that forever, and so at my mom and dad's old band, their keyboard player had a son who was named Brandon, and Brandon ended up deciding he wanted to come play bass for us, which was awesome. He was just learning how to play bass, and we weren't very good anyway at the time, so we were like, the more the merrier. And then there was a kid from my high school who was a couple years younger than me, but I always thought was a really nice guy, and we had just worked on this little side praise and worship thing for their church, and his name was Aaron West. And once Aaron joined, we kind of had this group, and we were starting to get things going, but we knew we needed a singer. We had a mutual friend named Tyler, and we knew he had played in some bands that we were involved in before, played with some hardcore bands that we were fans of. So,
Yeah, me and Logan used to go to a lot of local shows, so we knew Tyler from that kind of scene and decided to bring him on to try it out.
Yeah, so there we had it. We had our 5-member group, and we were ready to do some rock and roll, and we never accomplished that whatsoever.
Give up on me. It takes no
played 3 shows total, 2 shows total as that lineup.
Yeah.
And then things just started breaking apart. You know, keeping a band together for any amount of time is always really difficult.
2 months.
Huh?
For like 2 months
What?
that we lasted with that lineup.
Oh, it was probably like 2 days for show wise, but so yeah, keeping a band together at all is just an impossible task. But so Tyler ended up leaving the band for different reasons, and then we were left again without a singer.
Yeah.
And that's kind of really the storyline of the band.
Yeah, we come across that a lot.
So we found a guy named Caleb Henderson who went to my high school, and Caleb was somebody I took driver's ed with, random enough. He took driver's ed with me, didn't have any idea he could sing. We posted it on our Facebook, I think, that we were looking for a new singer, and he showed up one night at your house, and
Yeah.
we had a impromptu practice before his first show that night.
Yeah, so we set up in my basement, and I'm pretty sure we ran through like a Creed song or an Alter Bridge song or something
That's what it was, yeah.
to audition him, so if that shows you our musical taste at the time.
Yeah, well, I figured anybody who could sing any of those notes was going to be
True.
good enough. And he nailed them. So
Yeah.
we had a lineup set, and so we played our first show the day after he tried out.
So once we got that, we started really building this thing called The Lasting Hope.
Hi, Logan. Say hi to the camera. It's Craig.
Craig tells the story.
What?
We tell the story.
Look, there's the singer. He finally decided to show up today.
Oh, I can't understand the reasons why he came on this earth and died. And now I give it all to you. So take my life, take my mind, take my soul, take my will. I am good that when I voice of reason, there's no clouds in the sky. What's done is done, that's all to me. I need to sing out loud. Well, I'm not living a nightmare any longer. Oh, I can't appreciate the vast blue skies. I'm not chained to the years that burn me. God is my savior. He's the reason I'm alive.
My legs are killing me! This is gonna be an awful show. Oh my god! So after we kind of got that lineup set, we started playing shows more frequently, and we had a youth pastor from a Scottsburg church ask us to play at his church, and then from there he asked us to play at their youth camp.
Yeah, so, and then that was like really our first taste of getting real shows, like that weren't where the churches we were from, like just out of pity booking us. So it was like
giving us a
it was like
set.
finally someone was going to take the initiative to kind of book us and give us a real chance. And so we got to finally get out there and kind of explore like what it was like to play in front of people who didn't have to like you. I can remember Brian, the first time he said that he saw us, that it was horrible, but he saw some glimpse of hope there. He said that they were standing back in the kitchen watching us play, and he said the people that he was with were regretting that they brought him in. And Brian was like, well, I think there might be something there. And I look back at all those videos and I don't see what he saw. But if he didn't never take that chance on us, I guarantee we wouldn't be together still.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so from there, we didn't really have a place to practice. We were practicing at another church that was local, but Aaron had just stopped going there recently, so we were kind of without a practice space, and practice was something that we definitely needed and we definitely relied on. And so the youth group and the youth leader just opened their doors to us, and they let us have this awesome place called The Rock to practice in, and that's really where we grew like the foundation of the band, I would say.
Yeah.
Those nights we got to spend there, just kind of, whether it was playing Risk or whether it was playing dodgeball, like those are what grew, I don't know how you would say it, like the family atmosphere of the band.
I mean, we'd go there probably like once a week. We'd say we were going to practice, and then whether we did when we got there or not was a different story. But it was definitely a place we kind of called home to kind of develop our sound. So in the beginning of 2012, we met a local guy that played keyboard through Brian, and we kind of got to hang out with him at the Rock and Road show.
Yeah.
And
so the very top of the nosebleed section.
Yeah, we couldn't hear anything, like literally nothing, barely could see the stage, but we got to hang out with him a little bit and got to know him. We thought, this guy's pretty cool. So we tossed around the idea of having a piano player in the band and decided to go for it.
Yeah, we just snatched him out of the band that he was in, and we thought this is the right thing to do. And it was just a really cool fit. It added a thing to our sound that we didn't have. We had been going for this really grungy rock sound, and the piano just kind of filled up those spaces sonically that we didn't have before. And before we even knew that he could really play, we had already kind of decided he was going to be in the band. So we just really liked the dude. He was just really cool and just added this happy, optimistic spirit to the band. And so before we even really knew that he was capable of playing piano, he was kind of already in the band, which is not a good decision for anyone trying to start a band, but it worked out for us.
So for anybody keeping count, that put us at 6 members.
And a 6-member band is
difficult.
Okay, now we got a
Song
guy
list?
here.
Set list.
Thank you.
Set list last
Set
second.
list because we forgot ours at the Rock. So.
Yeah. You see the tents way back there.
This is a big deal for us. This is the Ictus Music Festival 2012.
Everybody give it up for us, alright?
After Tro joined the band in the fall of 2012, we kind of decided to split ways with Brandon, which left us needing a bass player. So Tro's cousin is actually Josiah, so as we got to know Tro, we got to know Josiah as well, and thought, this guy's kind of cool too.
Yeah, he was this dude who had tattoos, and at the time, I don't think you had any, did you?
I did not,
So
and
he
I was
really
jealous.
influenced you, didn't he? Yeah.
No, he didn't give me.
He's the reason why you're like you are. But yeah, Josiah was just, he came from like the same, well, I guess literally he came from the same family as Trowbridge, and so they had like
Same
really
church,
the same kind
same
of
band.
Yeah, same church, same band. We apologize to that band, by the way, but they were both just super. We all just had really like similar personalities,
Yeah.
so it just clicked super well. So we said, here, take a trial run with us, and we'll see what happens. And probably after a month, we had decided that
Yeah.
Josiah was a good fit for the band. And
Yeah.
so there we were, still a 6-piece band, but we were finally got like a real lineup, or like what felt like it was something that was going to be sustainable.
It felt solid.
Yeah.
So it turns out it wasn't that solid. Shortly after, Caleb decided to leave. He got a full-time job and was looking at getting married, so we were left without a singer. Again. So after Caleb left, we decided we'd put it out on our Facebook page that we were going to have some auditions and try people out. So we had some tryouts and nothing really worked out, so we were kind of at a standstill. And eventually, just to keep playing shows and not miss anything, Logan stepped up and we ran with it.
Even though I didn't really want to be the singer of The Lasting Hope, I decided to give it my all and put everything I had into it. So I started studying some of the vocalists that I really looked up to and kind of just trying to learn what they did on stage, what seemed to work with crowds. And I also started taking vocal lessons, which over time seemed to really help and definitely kept me from blowing out my voice like I did for the first few shows. But through that and through just putting a new singer in the band, obviously is going to change the sound, but having me already writing the lyrics and then moving to the vocals, it kind of just worked out, and that kind of has formed what the modern Lasting Hope sound that people know today to be. My intention was never to be singing for any band ever, any time. My intention was never to be a singer. The first song that we released with Markley Towns was a song called Something New. And after taking some time and praying about it, we decided we were going to take on the financial burden and push this song to radio. As an independent band, pushing a song to radio isn't really the most ideal financial situation, but we realized it was something that was going to help further our career, so we went for it. After a couple months of radio push, we got the results back and our song hit number 5 on the Christian Billboard rock charts. This was a huge motivation for the band to keep going and keep staying on this path that we were on, and we felt like we had finally started to establish what the Lasting Hope sound is.
I got involved with the Lasting Hope through, actually I think I heard their song Something New at the time before I was in the band, and I thought, this is a pretty hot song. So the quality was really great and everything, and it caught me off guard from old quarantine videos that I'd seen before, or songs that I'd heard before. And so yeah, I messaged Logan on Facebook and I said, hey man, look, I really want to get involved with helping you guys out the best that I can, so I don't know if you need somebody to sell your merchandise for you or do different stuff like that, just kind of be a helping hand the best I could. So I wanted to go out on the road with him and see what it was about.
Well, this time I've seen its better days. I think it's time that we finally parted ways. So gas up the car and hit the open road. bucks and all of my ambitions. I got to leave, but I don't know where to go. Cause your perfection was out of my connection. I spent so much time trying to follow a direction that was based off of misconceptions. I can't even stand to see my own reflection. So show me.
So selling merch lasted for, I think it was about right at a year, probably. It was whenever Josiah and Trowbridge were still in the band, and for Trowbridge, he ended up having to part ways with the band due to wanting to pursue youth ministry, and Josiah as well was wanting to pursue worship at his church and also youth ministry as well, I believe. And so whenever they kind of parted ways, then Logan asked me if I would be able to step up and play bass for The Lasting Hope, which I owned a bass at the time, but I didn't really per se know how to play, but I ended up picking it up fairly quickly, and yeah, suffered through some horrible sets in front of some family members and luckily smaller crowds. But anyways, I ended up picking it up, and look at us today. So shortly after, I ended up joining. We did our first kind of tour, in a way, was with Coffee, not the drink, but COFY. It's called Community Outreach for Youth, and that was a really cool thing to get the ball rolling with younger fans. You know, we get to go into schools and not necessarily preach at them like in school. Obviously that's not allowed in today's world, but what we'd do is we'd go in there and we'd play a couple of different songs to kind of like hook them to where they would be like, oh, this band's actually pretty cool, they're younger guys. And then we'd have this motivational speaker or somebody come in to talk. Past couple years has been a guy named Bob who's really cool. But yes, we come in and we do a couple songs and he comes in and talks, give his little bit of his story, and then we invite him out to a concert later that night, and that's whenever the show gets born.
Oh, show me something new. Cause your perfection was out of my connection. I spent so much time trying to follow a direction that was based off of misconceptions. I can't even stand to see my own reflection. So show me something new. And take me past all the things I've been through. And I can't stay stuck in this place. Take me somewhere far away with you. I can't stay stuck in this place. Take me somewhere far away with you. There's something out there, there's something better.
We felt like the things we had kind of done before were kind of getting a little outdated. Even though we had had some success on Christian rock radio, it just seemed like that wasn't really the music we were listening to in our own spare time anymore. And so we kind of wanted to stay true to what we really listened to and not just be playing music because we felt like it was working. So we kind of switched it up and started writing some pop tunes that definitely caught some people off guard when we released it, but we couldn't have been happier. This was a different writing process because in the first EP we did with Mark, Josiah and I had wrote a lot of lyrics together. We had just got together and we were able to bounce ideas off each other. And this one, it was kind of just all on me to come up with these lyrics. And so it brought out a lot of different sound, and the lyric writing I felt like was the most honest I'd been up until this point. When it came to a song like Rescue, I initially just started writing the song on my iPhone with GarageBand and started putting these lyrics that basically were just what I was going through at that moment.
I still remember when I thought I had it all together. I thought I had it all figured out, and no one was gonna tell me that I didn't. It didn't take me that long to see I wasn't that strong, but I thought I was too far gone. Your love said that I wasn't, nothing. I know that you're all that I need. And through you, and only you, yeah, through you, and only you, I can do all things, all things, all things, all things, all things, all things. Through you, I can do all things. I can't forget when you found me, I was broken. My past mistakes you erased, you picked me up again. I never found a love that had no cost, till you said all the found were once lost. You put love in reverse, you removed my curse. Said the first should be last and the last should be first. That kind of love means more than words. And I know that your love is calling. I know without you I am nothing. I know that you're all that I need.
So I started getting really into like road management, tour management stuff through my time with the Lasting Hope. I actually went to a Big Daddy Weave show September 2014 while I was still in the band, and I met a guy named Brad Fogarty who tour manages Big Daddy Weave. Had a really great connection with him that night, got to meet him, and then later on that relationship turned into an opportunity for me to go work on a couple of cruises with his company, with his tour management company, which began to what I believe is like the Lord stirring my heart into like what my next season in life would look like, or what it was supposed to look like. And so through that time, starting in like January, February of 2015, I just really started praying and just like seeking the Lord, asking the Lord on like what the next season should look like. Is it still, I know the Lord has called me to the Christian music industry, but is it behind a drum kit, or is it like behind the scenes, behind the stage, coiling cables, or taking care of hotel bookings, or making sure we have catering, or running monitors, running sound, like whatever it may be. And I really started like seeking the Lord on that. So that went on for about 12, 13, 14 months. I was really just praying, like trying to figure out what that should look like the next season. Still playing with the Lasting Hope during this time, traveling. I think we did close to 80 or 90 shows that year in 2015. Super great year. Then going into 2016, this past year, January, February rolled around, and I was kind of just like in a really weird spot. I felt like the Lord was telling me to move on to some different opportunities. By March of 2016, I really knew that it was confirmed, like the Lord was telling me to move on to the next season. And so I shared with the guys around the end of March and told them that April would be my last month with the band.
It started in the summer of 2016, and the drummer had just left because he had different opportunities, and so he headed out, and then Logan was in desperate need of a drummer because they were going into the summer tour and all the festivals, and so he asked a couple guys, and then he finally reached this one guy that I was super close to, and he had grew up with, lived on the same street, and he had played in a band before, but he couldn't do it. So he had known that I played drums, and he informed Logan that he knew a guy and could learn quick, and just was pretty good at playing drums. So that person was me and Logan. So the person Logan got a hold of, his name was Charlie, and I've pretty much known him my whole life. And so yeah, Logan got my number from Charlie, and Logan ended up getting in contact with me and asked if I could come down to where they lived for a day and kind of try out, I suppose. And I had like a few days or like a week to prepare myself, so I spent some nights super late, up super late, practicing their songs, listening to them, and kind of just went into the whole thing blind.
What am I living for? What am I living for? I need a breakaway, stuck on replay.
So immediately after I got in the band, we did a 2-week run, playing a bunch of shows with 3 guys that I had never met before. Well, 4, including our merch guy Jake, who came with us for a little bit. But yeah, traveling with a group of guys I'd never met before, and an experience that I don't think I would ever thought I would get. Getting to play some music, and playing alongside people that I went to see at like concerts, like Newsboys, Hawk Nelson. So experience of a lifetime, and I'm glad it's still going.
Somehow I gotta break out. Still living with this question, and it echoes inside of my head. What am I? What am I living for? What am I? What am I living for? I need a breakaway, stuck on replay, trying to find my place.
You know, some bands stay in hotels and really nice places, but Logan's got a way of booking these really, what's the word? Sketchy motels with an M, not an H. And, you know, he's just trying to get the best deal for us, you know? He's using the money wisely, but I wouldn't recommend these places.
So after we did coffee and everything, our 2017 schedule kind of expanded it even more. With we did this different organization called Stanford Truth, which is pretty much the same as coffee, but in a different kind of organization. It's really cool. We have once again another speaker comes out. We play a couple songs, invite him out for a concert that evening. But we've really kind of branched out with what we've been doing with the whole school assembly
I
thing.
think I finally found my way. I'm not back where I started, but I'm starting again. You know it's never too late when I'm following you, and I'm following you. I think I finally found my way. I think I finally found my way. Reasons for leaving, but you never once turned your back on me. I'm selfish, you're selfless, so thankful that it's not left up to me. But I won't let no storms hold me back, no, cause I know that you'll always have my back, Lord. When I take 2 steps back, you take 3 forward. So I won't keep on living in the past no more. And I think I finally found my way. I'm not back where I started.
So we want to thank you guys for watching. This has been a crazy adventure, and we're thankful that you guys have been a part of it. We've basically got to do all of our childhood dreams throughout these years. We've got to meet some of the people we never thought we'd meet, play in front of people we never thought we'd get to play in front of, and you guys have made that possible. So thank you for letting us continue this ministry, and we're excited to see what happens next.
Love is unchanging. Sometimes it's so hard to see all your plans for me, but I know they're still there. Feel like the stars in the morning, they're hidden before me, but you're in control, so I don't have to worry. Like stars in the sky, you have plans for my life. Your glory shines so bright, I can't see the things that you see, but I'm never out of your sight, cause you know what's in store for me. Sometimes it's so hard to know where you need me to go, but your plans are still there. Feel like the stars in the morning, they're hidden before me, but you're in control, so I don't